Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Powered by Coldwell Banker Ford McMurray. We love YMM. Monday.
A Google engineer, somebody working behind the scenes in development, R&D for the gigantic company that is Google, is claiming that AI, one of the artificial intelligence that they are working on, has become sentient. Oh, great. That sounds perfectly fine and not foreboding and worrisome at all. But basically, they put this guy named Lemoyne on leave last week because he has published some transcript conversations between himself and the Lambda, the language model for dialogue applications chatbot. I know, a lot of details you don't really need. Basically, a computer and the guy were talking. He posted the transcript of the conversation and goes, "Look, proof!" As if it wasn't doctored or something like that, right? Like, I feel this is Weekly World News type stuff. Maybe there are hints, there are slivers of truth in there. Maybe we are advancing. Maybe AI is on a trajectory towards that. I just don't think that they were here yet. He's claiming this thing, if he didn't know it was an artificial intelligence, he would think it was a 7 or 8 year old kid that also happens to know physics. This is literally a quote from the guy to the Washington Post. Really? Really? I'm kind of skeptical. I've got my doubts. Looks like Canada is going to be putting warnings not just on the packaging for cigarettes, but on every single cigarette. Yeah, we're going to be one of the first countries in the world to require a warning to be printed on individual cigarettes. I don't know how effective this is going to be because the gross images on the package are probably the most effective deterrent so far. Diminishing returns after that point. And I think I see the logic, trying to be like, well, what if people got their hands on one without seeing the package? What then? Would they know? I kind of think that they would. I think that, like, we're aware. And I got to tell you, if those photos don't work, then you might have to admit that nothing might. But fine. That's totally fine. You can print your warnings right on the cigarettes themselves. Just, don't mess up the direction. Don't put them in the wrong direction like they did for those drug pencils. Do you remember those where it said too cool to do drugs, but then as you sharpened it, it would remove the two and then it would say cool to do drugs, sharpen it some more, it just says do drugs, and then sharpen it even more and it just simply says drugs. Yeah, maybe don't do that with the cigarettes. I'm just saying, we've talked about this before. In fact, it was about 30 years ago that Dennis Leary had this to say on the subject.
Doesn't matter how big the warnings are. You could have cigarettes that were called warnings. You could have cigarettes that come in a black pack with a skull and a crossbone on the front called tumors. And smokers would be lined up around the block going, I can't wait to get my hands on these things.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden is saying, hey, replace me if he's unable to sing anymore. And, longtime fans have noticed there is a change in the timbre and quality of the voices of all of the artists that you've listened to for multiple decades, right? He's been singing for years and years and years and years. But he recently told the Daily Star's Wired column, if tomorrow I don't feel able to sing more than 4 songs a night, I'd like the guys to continue, and I should be able to choose my replacement. I would stick my head in from time to time, and the other singer would do the rest. So, still wants to be involved, and I don't think that's a horrible compromise. It's very interesting. You don't usually see or hear frontmen wanting to share the spotlight like that. Speaking of in the spotlight, during a Killers show in Manchester, Brandon Flowers, the frontman, paused the show to check on an elderly member in the crowd because he spotted somebody in their senior years literally crowd surfing and being taken over the front barrier. He had to pause and immediately go down and check on him. Afterwards, coming back to the microphone and telling the crowd, I said, Billy, what you doing? And the pensioner replying, I'm enjoying meself. That's fantastic. I love that so much. The photos and videos make it as well. And sad news from Justin Bieber. The Canadian pop star has let us know that he has now had a diagnosis of Ramsay-Hunt syndrome that has left his face partially paralyzed. He has said that the right side of his face is difficult to move and he struggles to blink now. He says that he has been dealing with this unspecified sickness for quite some time and is the reason he postponed the opening portion of his North American Justice Tour, which is ongoing, and he will be, of course, dealing with this for the next foreseeable future.
Tuesday.
Dog Days of Summer event, a fun run for you and your pup. in support of the Fort McMurray SPCA is coming up. I got the date exactly for you. Checked it out on the cruise community calendar. June 24th is going to be the day, and we'll be live on location giving you details as we get closer. And of course, there is a registration fee, which helps out with supporting the FM SPCA, but also you get a t-shirt and a bandana for your companion animal as well. Check it out on our website or, direct on the event on Facebook as well. Now, I'm also seeing in the last couple days some dog park disappointment in waterways by the boat launch specifically. I'm now super curious to take a drive out there, later today and see, but I'm being told that the dog park, the trails, the shade-providing trees have been, shall we say, displaced, as in they aren't there anymore currently. And as I understand it, this is a flood mitigation going on, which is vitally important, so absolutely not knocking it. We're getting a reminder as well this week with Calgary declaring an emergency over some flooding that's happening. They say not as significant as, several years ago in 2013-14, I think, but still significant. I digress, though. This is an area that people absolutely frequent. The dogs seem to love. A lot of people's favorite dog park area to bring the pups. So, on behalf of the people who do frequent the area, and, really on behalf of everyone, once the mitigation work's done, please put a sweet dog park with shady trees back in place. It does make a certain amount of logical sense to maybe, just maybe, consider taking care of the planet that we live on. It's the only one we've managed to live on so far. We should probably make it last at least a little bit longer, right? But, people have ideas about how to do that. Interestingly enough, the lead singer of the band Muse, Matt Bellamy, is trying to do that, as well as, put out new music, new albums and stuff. He does say that he has a company that is helping out with development that has been spurred on by MIT scientists that looks to replace some of the energy industry sources with geothermal, but created geothermal energy. Specifically, they want to fire lasers into the Earth's core, vaporize rock, and utilize the warmth that comes from it in, the same way that normal geothermal energy is used. I mean, it's just a lot of energy underneath the planet's surface, just kind of sitting there. Maybe we shouldn't, use too much of it so that it cools down or something like that. Like, I feel like there's either two bad directions this could go. You tip the scales, Roland Emmerich style, and you make it freeze, or it's gonna blow up. Just got to the breaking point, and then we turn into a space piece of popcorn, right? I don't want that. Yeah, either Roland Emmerich disaster movie plot, or it's a Bond villain's evil plan.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Lady Gaga, who, admittedly you don't hear a whole ton of right here on 100.5 Cruise FM, but you do hear a ton of. She is going to be part of another movie, most recently providing the ending theme song to Top Gun Maverick, as well as, creating a very Top Gun-ish music video for it. She's going to potentially be in the sequel to Todd Phillips' Joker. And there's no confirmation, but people are suspecting that she might star as Harley Quinn, opposite Joaquin Phoenix as the titular role of the first movie. This one now called Folie à Deux, which is a term that I think is hilariously perfect for this movie. If it is going to be about the Joker and Harley Quinn, Folie à Deux meaning a shared psychosis between two, or it can mean more people, and if they even add Batman like as an origin story in there, could be. We'll see when it comes out. More details on the way for that. Sex Pistols in the news as well, because the member Steve Jones is saying, ABBA us. Make us holograms. He would be down for an ABBA-style hologram reunion of the Sex Pistols. I can't tell if that's not punk at all or extremely punk to do it, but he says, seeing that ABBA can do it without being there, I'd be down. Well, it costs a lot of money, but hey, then you live forever in hologram form.
Wednesday.
Another rainy day ahead of us for sure. The clouds, they are already dripping on some parts of town and soon to be the rest of us, and with like a thunder shower later on in the day expected as well. Early in the morning, risk of thunder shower. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens. Maybe into the afternoon. I don't know. But I do know that rainy days do mean comfort food, right? Soul food, as my mom used to call it, and still does to this day. Going to be visiting later on this year, and already she's like, we're going to be making some soul food. And I'm so excited for it. So what is your rainy day soul food, your rainy day comfort food? I want to know. I mean, there's a lot of great options. Baked potatoes, meatloaf, chili if you've got it. Mac and cheese is on top for me. Salty ramen, chocolate chip cookies, grilled ass cheese and tomato soup. Yes. Get weird with it. Get different cheeses on there. Get a Jarlsberg going. as well. You know what I mean? Like, that is how you do yourself some rainy day food, some comfort food. And, didn't get into it yesterday. Maybe today's the day. It's definitely going to be rainier than before. Another great option, though, it's great if you've already got it handy, a little bit of work otherwise, but one ultimate rainy day food always comes to mind.
Chicken pot pie. Those are my 3 favorite things.
Joke by Pablo Francisco. A new Squid Game show. You probably heard a couple days ago they're announcing officially greenlighting that second season of the most popular show, the South Korean show. And we're talking like this is a long time coming. People already expected this. I actually thought they already did announce it. But no, the official green light came through, which is funny because they're doing the red light, green light thing and even promising that Red Light Robot Girl is going to be getting a boyfriend figure for the next... Weird. Don't care about that. But Squid Game, The Challenge was announced just yesterday. This is not the show. This is a reality TV spin-off of the show and aims to be the largest payout on a reality show ever at $4.56 million going to one singular winner out of, 456 players. And they're taking applications. 2 of the requirements that I've seen so far, pretty basic. Got to be 21 or older and have a valid passport because you're probably not going to be filming at home. Know what I mean? Now people are comparing, Fox's X Factor, the winners of that get a recording contract of over $5 million. No, that's a big payout, yes, but that's also a job. You get a job afterwards. You got work to do. This is just do the work during the game show, take $4.56 million home, and be laughing. This was announced just here in Alberta, actually, at the Banff World Media Festival yesterday. And I gotta say, could be very fun to watch, could be an epic reality show of epic proportions, but at the same time, they did watch the first season of Squid Game, right? Like, they did understand the message behind it and the absolute indictment of a capitalist society that leaves so many people wanting on the bottom levels of things. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm still probably going to watch, though.
Hey, Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Ozzy Osbourne in the news again and doing well and on the road to recovery after an operation, a major operation. This coming from Sharon Osbourne. And I do want to take it at face value, though she has at times been an unreliable narrator. Last week, he did undergo surgery that would, and I quote from Sharon as well, determine the rest of his life. Now, she's saying, our family would like to express so much gratitude to the overwhelming amount of love and support leading up to Ozzy's surgery. He's doing well on the road to recovery. Your love means the world to him. Keep on rocking, Ozzy, but take a break when you need to. Coachella Music Festival announcing its 2023 dates. Yes, I know it's only June of 2022, but if you're at all interested in going and actually getting your hands on a ticket, like, you got to get in on it as soon as possible before they even announce the artists that are going to be a part of it. But there's going to be big names. And Weezer this week, in support and promotion of their Seasons album, SZNZ, there's a Chia Pet, a Weezer Chia Pet, which is a head of what looks like a member of the band, like kind of like Rivers, but without the glasses. Could just be a nondescript kind of amalgamation of all of the members. The most hilarious and most Weezery part of it all is it is a classic Chia Pet you remember from your youth and still sold today, but the head is on its side. It is an absolutely dystopian figure that's going to be growing some chia seeds on its head. Kind of cool and absolutely available right now, but only for pre-order, $29.99 American, and it could be yours whenever it actually shows up. Sad affair happening today. It's finally here. You might have already seen the notices pop up whenever trying to open up the ancient software, but Internet Explorer is going to be gone as of today, like actually no longer usable as of today. I've seen some, posts saying, well, as of today, they're going to start directing you to Microsoft Edge. I'm like, yeah, it already does. If you've at all opened up Internet Explorer in the last year and a half, it's like, hey, don't do it, guy. Go to the good one. Go to the new one. And I go to Chrome instead, you know what I mean? Or Firefox. But still, that's besides the point. Internet Explorer shutting down today after almost 30 years. Check in on your grandparents. For sure, today. They may need some support and may need you to help them out in figuring out exactly how to get back on the internet, what exactly a browser is.
I just want you to install a browser.
That's the browser there. Look at it. That's the browser. Internet Explorer is a browser.
But what's the E? But that's the button for the internet, Roy.
The button for the internet.
Definitely check up on them. But don't worry about Internet Explorer itself. I mean, I know this is sad and devastating news, and any software would be upset, I think, to find out that it was getting shut down and no longer accessible by the general public. But in Internet Explorer's case, it's not going to find out for like at least a few months. So, you're good. Guilt-free.
Thursday.
The good news. Canada and Denmark are no longer at war. The whiskey war is really what I'm talking about. Not an actual conflict by any means whatsoever, but still a stalemate, I guess. A deadlock between which of the countries would claim ownership of Hans Island. Now, in 1973... the two countries, Denmark, which is, the sort of sovereign of Greenland as a territory, they decided that they were going to put a border between the two big land masses, and even though they're all part of North America, technically. But there was one country in particular, amidst all the ice, that they went, who owns this? I don't know, we do. No, we do. No, we do. No, we do. And they decided, you know what, we'll figure that out later. We'll decide on that later. I think both countries kind of slyly being like, they'll forget about it and we'll just take it. It's like half a mile squared and there's nothing on it, not even anything to mine. Like, it's basically where seabirds live, and it is some ancestral hunting grounds for sure, but not used so much these days. And it turned into an island where in the 80s began the practice of planting flags, trying to claim ownership for the nation, and also leaving some spirits behind, some alcohol of some kind. There was some brandy on our side, some schnapps on the Danish side of things, on the Greenland side, and that went on for years and years and years. And kind of escalated here and there, but in amusing ways only. Now it is no longer. They have officially declared to split the territory. They're going to cut the island in half, geologically speaking, or geographically speaking, or whatever you want to call it. I think this is, both a little bit sad, because I think it's totally an amusing thing, us fighting over a tiny little island and giving each other alcohol to prove our ownership somehow. I don't know, that's amusing to me, for sure. But I do also understand the reasoning behind this agreement to end this border dispute as a show, as a symbol, really, to say, hey, you can absolutely end weird border disputes very, very amicably, very, very peacefully. So maybe some other areas in the world might maybe want to follow suit. I think it's a bit of a passive gesture for sure. I don't think it's going to make any waves, but still, kind of nice to see. The Foo Fighters tribute acts that are being named for the Taylor Hawkins shows in LA and the UK. Big names on there. You're talking Joan Jett, Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, Brian May, Alanis Morissette, Gene Simmons, Nikki Sixx, Chad Smith, and a whole lot more. Really just scratching the surface. Tickets are amazingly going to go on sale tomorrow. They show in LA. It's Tuesday, September 27th. As well, we've gotten an interesting look at Robert Plant's potential Game of Thrones cameo that once might have been but never was. He was talking to George Stroumboulopoulos and was talking about how he actually turned down the offer of a cameo on the show that was great for about 6.5 seasons out of the 8. But he said, I don't want to be typecast. Led Zeppelin started that bleep. Which, I gotta say, not too far off. He says, go back to Immigrant Song and Led Zeppelin being a part of a cultural exchange between Iceland and the Icelandic government. They didn't really know what they'd invited onto their little island. And they got quite an epic song that has rarely been used in media and for like the syncing rights in movies and TV, but it has been used at some points. Would have been fascinating to see Robert Plant in Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Joining me in studio, which is, just in itself a treat to have guests to come and hang out here right in the 100.5 studio. It's all about the Fort City Car Show, which is happening this very weekend. Father's Day, don't forget, is this Sunday. Shauna, Lucas, thank you guys so much for joining me. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Great to be here.
I'm good, Steve. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, big smiles. I know we're seeing a kind of a bit of a rainy week this week and everything, but I think that it's going to turn up for this weekend. Of course, there's always huge excitement for the show. It's the biggest car show of its kind here in our region. Tell us all about it. If people are like, what? I didn't even know about this. Give them the news.
Yeah. Well, Shauna, how many years have we been doing this now?
I don't want to show my age. It's been, I'm not even sure, like almost 10, maybe?
I think this is our 9th year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had to cancel the last 2 years because of something, that should not be named.
Never even heard of it.
We don't need to talk about that. But yeah, we canceled the last 2 years. But we're so excited to be able to bring the car show back this year. In 2019, we had over 100 cars.
Like more like 130.
130 cars. We gave away over 2,000 hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yes.
What else did we do? We closed down the road. We did all the things that you can imagine. The city just, let us do all that kind of stuff. And we estimated we had probably about 4,500 people come through the car show.
Is that pastor math?
That's pastor math. Okay. Yeah, we like to exaggerate a little bit, but
still, I mean, a huge deal, a great time, and I'm sure a great many people milling and wandering through all these cars, going, ooh, look at that. So people can still register, right? I mean, I know we're getting close to the actual day here, but people can still sign up if they want to show off their shiny cars, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And space is limited when it comes to the registration for vehicles, and we have more vehicles registered a week out than we ever have before.
We're creeping up on 100 vehicles registered. I think in the past we've maybe done 100 and I don't even want to say like maybe 150. I think is like our max that we can comfortably do. But you can it's easier for us if you register beforehand, but we also, if we're not full, we do take registrations on the morning of. I know some of the guys with the super fancy rides like to not drive in the rain.
Yeah,
so
understandable. Yeah, and we are just such a last-minute town. I mean, for as many years as I've been here, as many years as I've gone, wow, people love to show up at the last minute, which is cool. You're welcome to. Absolutely. We're still talking to Shauna and Lucas with Fort City Car Show, because it is happening this weekend, this Sunday specifically, and there's going to be all kinds of things happening. There's going to be sounds in the air. There's also going to be smells in the air. The barbecue is going to be on and by donation, right? Tell us more about what's going to be happening.
Well, the show only happens because of our sponsors, and one of our biggest sponsors who's been with the car show for years now. The car show wouldn't have been happening without them, is Legacy Dodge.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that their financial contributions allow us to do is make the whole event free. Everything from the food to the kids area where there's bouncy castles, everything is free, and because of Legacy Dodge. And what that means is that if we raise money by donation, let's say at the barbecue, all of the money raised from that and all of the money raised from driver registration is going directly to helping Youth with a Mission for McMurray. And they're this great organization that we just absolutely love, but they work with low-income families, student ministries. They do work in the Indigenous awareness sphere, and here they do a little bit of everything.
Right.
And so we're just incredibly grateful that we're able to support a cause like them here in Fort McMurray.
Yeah, while enjoying the weather, enjoying a burger, a hot dog, and the kids are going to be this is going to be magic. A magical kingdom for the kids, right? They're going to be fed. There's going to be, great cars to look at everywhere, and there's face painting, bouncy castles. Like, they're going to be in their element, and the big kids too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. We have a new thing that we're doing this year that I'm pretty excited about, and we're partnering with the strongman people.
Right.
I think I'm using the wrong words, but it's fine. They're going to be setting up a booth, and they're going to have 2 skills that you can do. I believe there's a truck deadlift and a Thor's hammer as well.
Cool.
So dads, don't throw your back out trying to be 22 again, but it will be entertaining.
Lift with your legs.
Yes.
With your legs, dads, and everybody who wants to take part, for sure. That's really fun. And also a big draw, a big exciting thing for people is the dynamometer.
Oh,
right?
man.
The dyno demos are coming back.
Oh yeah, we're really excited about that. That's a huge draw, and that's one of the big reasons why we asked the city to close the road down in front of the church, is so we can have a whole section for the dyno. And we're really excited to be working with Devon's Dyno this year. They're coming up, and they're going to be. It's so loud.
Yeah,
it's so loud, but it's impressive to see the power that some of those vehicles have.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And the people who love to compete finally getting a number.
Oh, yeah.
They can say, mine is this number. What is yours? You know what I mean? Not
it's
just
all bragging
I think
rights,
I'm
right? It's
faster.
all about it.
So this Sunday, Father's Day, it is going down. What are the hours for people to come and watch the show?
Open from 10 to 4.
Okay.
And so, it's free to come. Come bring your family. Show up anytime between those hours. We are working with Father Merck, so that's where we're asking people to park. We closed down the parking lot for the drivers in their cars, and so you can't park there. You got to park across the road at Father Merck and walk on over.
Quick walk
It's
there. I mean,
just
down the block across the street. If people aren't aware, find out the information. There's a Facebook event page. Fort City Car Show even has their own page, I think, as well as the Fort City Church. So lots of ways to find the information. Lucas and Shauna, thank you guys so much for coming in and telling us all about it. I hope it's great sunny weather and a huge packed parking lot for Sunday.
Thanks, Steve.
Awesome. Thank you.
Friday.
There might be aliens out there in the world. well, in space, outside of the world, I guess. Beijing telescope techs have said, we've heard signals from aliens in outer space. And everyone else is going, probably not. Probably not. This is fascinating, though. And I mean, I grew up on the X-Files and learning about SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and anomalies in the cosmic background radiation that's the leftovers of the Big Bang and all that. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating. But, I learned a lot about that back in the 90s. So I was curious about what that kind of work looks like in the here and now. And apparently it is just becoming impossible to listen to radio signals in space from the surface of the planet because, you guessed it, humans are messing it up. Don't we love to do that? Yeah, and they were just sending out too many radio signals. The aliens that the Beijing telescope picked up, it's us, like the Planet of the Apes. Spoilers. In the end, it was always us. Paul McCartney just wrapped up his big old tour with a finale in New Jersey, East Rutherford specifically, and he wanted to get somebody who knew the streets to come out and join and sing a couple of songs for the last, outing on the tour.
Is he gonna come and sing with us? Let's get first
And the crowd goes nuts. I guess the boss got to join and sing along for a couple of Beatles classics. Glory Days, one of his own, was sung as well. And John Bon Jovi joined for a little bit on stage also. The Polaris Prize has seen its long list announced. Short list will be revealed in July. But in addition to the other some 40 albums that are up for the big prize, there's a little bit from Arcade Fire with their new album We. Drake's latest has also made it in there, Dawn FM, and a whole host of other incredible albums and music. And Simple Minds are back in the news because they're putting a new album out. In fact, they just released the first single off of it called Vision Thing. And Direction of the Heart is going to be the title of the full album, a follow-up to Walk Between Worlds, which they put out in 2018. This album is already up for pre-order and is going to be out officially October 21st. Treat Dad right this weekend. Father's Day on Sunday, of course. If dear old Dad is a hater of receiving gifts and affection, does not know how to act in that given scenario, don't even give him the choice. Just try to make it simple for him, right? Like taking him out for a coffee and a stroll through the Fort City Car Show that's happening on Sunday, for instance. We just linked to it. Starts off at 10 a.m. all the way till 4. And no, you don't have to be there for the whole 6 hours. You can drop in. Enjoy. Or, it could be as simple as like a FaceTime call. Just be ready for the dad angle. You know what I mean? Where you can count every single nostril hair that is added to the forest since last year.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.